sparkling new facility. Mays at three. He gets it for a double-digit LSU lead. Spinorama. That's fine. Harris throw down. Brooks got spun in the air and delivers a three. If you don't know, now you know.
The Fertitta Center was rocking on Wednesday night when Houston knocked off LSU. Today, the St. Louis Billikens are the opponent. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. From Houston, Texas, in the brand spanking new Fertitta Center, it's the Houston Cougars, one of 9 undefeateds in the country, hosting St. Louis. Good Sunday afternoon, and welcome to college basketball. Alongside Julianne Vianney, I'm Richard Cross. And Julianne, you look at 22 wins in a row at home, 9-0 to start the year, but Kelvin Sampson doesn't want it to be just about this team. He's all about building a program, and they're on their way here in Houston.
And what they've done, to make it sound simple, is they've competed. They haven't just played hard. They've played really well, and they've competed with each other, and they've continued to get better. 9-0 record is not something you would expect would happen with a schedule like they've played. They've played Oregon, they've played Oklahoma State. No one really thought they'd come in and continue this, but 22 straight home wins. That's the second longest active streak, so they have been really taking care of business on their home floor, and they've done well. It's been fun to watch them and watch the program just keep getting better and better every year.
This is just the 4th game that Houston has played in this newly renovated building. $60 million renovation. It was Hofheinz Pavilion. It is now the Fertitta Center. Houston at home in white. St. Louis out of the A-10 in black. First shot off the mark, won't go for Cedric Alley Jr. Two teams that want to play strong defense and they want to rebound. Starters for St. Louis. Fred Thatch getting his second start. Javon Best, we'll keep an eye on him. Leads the team in scoring and rebounding.
I think today could be one of those games that could grind it out. Both teams are going to look to run the ball. You're St. Louis, a defensive-minded team, very tough, but they're matched with Houston. Houston plays teams very physical, very tough.
Jalen Robinson Jr., Armani Brooks, he's the leading scorer for the Cougars. Deion Brady, tallest guy on the floor for Houston. They are undersized at just 6'7". Cougars 0 of 3 to start. How about an offensive rebound and a putback for Brooks, but an injured player as Breon Brady went down hard and is holding his left leg.
That's certainly not a way you want to start out the game. And this is what we said could happen. A lot of physical play off of the rebound. It's good hustle by both, but he did fall here. Ooh, sat on his leg.
That was Hassan French, one of the big guys for St. Louis at 6'7", 235, kind of falling backwards. I don't think any malicious intent there at all. Our officials going to the monitor to take a look just in case. Steven Anderson, Marquise Pettigrew, and Owen Short, the officiating crew. Houston off to a 2-0 lead on the putback.
Remember, too, Houston the other day, 48 rebounds against LSU. So you're going to see this kind of competing on the glass.
I think what you may be looking at is you saw the arms there were locked. Emphasis on the hook and hold this year. Key, though, to remember is it has to be a hook and a hold for it to be a flagrant one. The officials did not see anything. Just play on, physical start.
And here's the hook right here that they're checking out, but they're letting him play on. Nothing malicious.
Armani Brooks got the putback, gave Houston an early 2-0 lead. Cougars 9-0 on the year. St. Louis 7-2. There's an offensive foul on the Billikens. Foul goes against Fred Thatch Jr. Travis Ford in his 3rd season as the head coach at St. Louis. Hard to believe that he's been a head coach for 22 years now. Started out at Campbellsville in the NAIA in Kentucky, coached at Eastern Kentucky, UMass, Oklahoma State for 8 seasons.
Right. Very successful. Led Oklahoma State to 5 NCAA tournament appearances before coming to St. Louis. Hey, he doesn't look that old over there. Lots of experience.
And an offensive foul on the other end with Breon Brady getting the whistle. So we are whistle, whistle, whistle early.
And you're going to see that too in November and December basketball. Referees calling a lot more. Now, one thing I'm really going to be looking for from St. Louis is, can they score? Can they score with Houston today? They've struggled in that department throughout the season so far a bit. So they're going to have to be able to stay with them. I'm not too worried about them on the defensive end.
Turnover there for Breon Brady, called for a travel. Kelvin Sampson, a year ago, Coach of the Year in the American Athletic Conference. Took Houston to the second round. Heartbreaking loss to Michigan in that second round. They were about half a second away from advancing to the Sweet 16 a year ago.
The buzzer beater was a crazy game.
Brady from the right side rattles out for Jordan Goodwin. All loose, little slick spot on the floor. Another turnover. Into the lane. A little physical all of a sudden. S gets the three.
That's good patience. And Javon Bess is their leader, and he's the one they want to see with the basketball in his hands. He's been tremendous. Career high 24 points pretty recently. But he's one of the best guards in the country, according to Coach Ford. I mean, he really has continued to be consistent.
Alley tries a three there. He's got a three. Cedric Alley Jr. shooting only 27% from behind the arc, but he's got a couple of quick shots today. Gets that one to fall.
Not typically a good shooter from out there, so a nice job by him getting a shot off early. Remember,
Norman on the drive. The putback won't go, but free throws coming up for Goodwin.
remember too, we watched the Houston game in LSU this past Wednesday, and Houston came out flat in the first half. They did not play well to start the game. So you better believe that they're going to be a little bit more fiery to come into this one.
Houston trailed by 10 at the half against LSU, and then LSU came out of the locker room to start the second half. Quick 5-0 run. They were down 15 with 19 minutes to play, and then Houston came to life.
And they had to crawl out of that hole, and that was rough. 15 points with 19 minutes left in the second half, so they were definitely not playing with that sense of urgency. And then Armani Brooks came out in the second half and was on fire. He wasn't even scoring at all in the first half, and then suddenly hit his last 5 of 9 in that one. But that's what a good team will do. A mature team, a veteran team.
Jalen Robinson gets all the way inside to the rim and kisses it off the glass. Look at that move inside. Can't finish, though. Hassan French got all the way to the rim and then overshot it. Robinson tried to do it again.
Real quick shots can lead to those transition opportunities for Houston.
That time Javon Bess a little too strong from the wing. Brooks floater in the lane. Nice touch for Armani Brooks. He's got 4.
When you let Armani Brooks get into the open floor like that, he's deadly. And that's what we've seen him do throughout this season so far. He's been tremendous. Was 6th Man of the Year last year. Continued that even more so this year. If you're St. Louis, you want to make sure you're getting good shots against Houston, because Houston's such a good rebounding team that you may have a lot of one-and-done situations.
Goodwin open for 3. That ball just taken away on the offensive end. Javon Bess ripped it away.
A nice hustle.
And then it's going to be a foul on Houston. Fabian White picks up the foul. Came across the back with a little bit of a push. 4-point lead early for the Cougars.
And Galen Robinson getting out in the open floor and finishing, driving to the hoop. Nice little hang time there. And then how about Armani Brooks? Nobody's stopping him. He's got the green light, and Houston has the lead early.
Throws it into Rockmont at midcourt. 2 seconds. Rockmont off the Poole. 3 for the win. He got it! He got it! Jordan Poole, the freshman, hits it at the buzzer! And Michigan is off to the Sweet 16.
There's a reason it's called March Madness. Sometimes it should be called March Heartbreak. That's what it was for Houston. What an incredible shot. What an incredible March moment a year ago. Oh, goodness.
It was maddening for Coach Sampson and the Houston crew. I mean, unbelievable. They were so close to getting to the Sweet 16. First round beat San Diego State. That was a 2-point game. Then you lose to Michigan, who went on all the way. I mean, they were incredible. Lost on a mere buzzer beater.
Houston picked 3rd this year in the American, and they are trying to go back-to-back in the NCAA tournament for the first time since the early 80s. Galen Robinson finds Brooks in the corner. Long tip out.
Wait, what you have to love about Kelvin Sampson's crew is, and he told us this a couple days ago on the phone, is just that his guys want to work. They want to work hard. They're in the gym before practice, after practice, working on their game. Now with the new facility, they can recruit better. Nice move.
Wave the basket off.
Too much continuation there?
Well, you know, 2 miles from where we sit right now, there's no question that basket counts.
Exactly. Brooks all the way to the basket. That hang time doesn't count, but he's got a quick first step, and they get the ball back.
Fred Thatch.
Even this isn't the NBA?
There are some ties between the Houston Rockets, whose owner is Tillman Fertitta, and this building named the Fertitta Center.
A lot of their players come to the games as well whenever they don't have a game.
4-point lead. Heard a bunch of whistles early in this game. How about on Wednesday night? LSU and Houston, a combined 51 fouls and 76 free throw attempts. Is there something in the water? Lakers Rockets on Thursday night, 45 fouls, 59 free throw attempts. We can steer clear of that.
December, that's why.
Yeah, stay like in the 30 foul range today would be okay, right?
Right. I mean, I think that's the thing is you want consistency. So if you're a player, if you're a coach, you just need to figure out what that particular crew is calling like. And that's the hard thing is any given night it changes. And it's always like this earlier in the season, and they're stressing the freedom of movement now. Nice out of bounds play.
Oh my goodness, Bryson Gresham. It may have been out of necessity as opposed for show. That was the easy route to the rim for Bryson Gresham. Wow.
He's the best athlete out of their 5 players in that position.
Nice move by Hassan French with the hook in the middle of the lane. St. Louis had missed its previous 5 shots before that bucket for French.
Nice.
Shoot for Brooks. Free throws coming up. Got him on the arm.
But how about Gresham? Gresham with this out of bounds play. When in doubt, throw it to your big man. He'll make it look pretty. Now that wasn't even a lob pass. It was a bounce pass. Made him go after it a little bit. Now he's such an athlete. Behind his head makes it look easy.
Well, and that's a highlight jam, no question. But if he tries to turn back to the basket, the defense collapses on it. That's the play that gives you a chance for 2 right then.
If you're able to do it, and he certainly is physically able. And Coach Sampson was harping on him telling us before the game we've got a few front court players that are really good and really athletic, but he is by far the most athletic one out of the bunch.
So you're saying if you can jump out of the gym and you've got about a 7-foot wingspan,
you're going to play, and you're going to go for it, you know, and he's getting those kinds of recruits. Physical.
Turnover there by St. Louis, got into no man's land. Houston trying to play with some pace today. Brooks, a little ball fake, another floater. It's a couple of times he's been able to drop that in.
Brooks has a lot of moves in his repertoire. When you really look at him closely, he is such a threat from all over the floor. He comes off of screens nicely, can get to the hoop.
Cougars up 7 on the Billikens. We'll be back. Seven-point lead for Houston over St. Louis. Billikens have missed 6 of their last 7 shots. Meanwhile, Houston has made 6 of its last 8. That's why they've got a 7-point lead. Richard Cross, Julian Vianney with you from the Fertitta Center on the campus of the University of Houston. Cartier Gordon kicked it out.
One thing I like about Houston is they don't have anybody that can't switch. They're a pretty versatile 5 that start.
Seen it a couple of times today. Galen Robinson, his ability to get to the rim.
Now he's underrated in my opinion over this group.
Best gonna let a 3 fly. Need a big shot, that's who you go to. Javon Best knocks out another triple.
He's one of those players that will change the game, and Coach Ford really hopes that's contagious with the other players on the floor with him. Always has his feet ready to catch and shoot. And this is a zone here we're seeing from St. Louis. A little 2-3 action.
So again, Robinson trying to kind of snake his way into the lane. That time got tripped and was fouled. Hassan French picks up the foul. That is his first. When Robinson and Fabian White go to the bench for Houston. Corey Davis just off the bench knocks out the 3, and Houston with its biggest lead, now up 9.
Whatever Reese too, real quick. He didn't need much time at all to see the rim.
11:50 to play first half. Houston shooting it well early. 9-point advantage for the Cougars over St. Louis Sunday afternoon in Houston. Nine-point lead for Houston over St. Louis. We are at the Fertitta Center, campus of the University of Houston. Billikens picked at the top of the A-10 coming into this season. Best player on the team for Travis Ford, I think no question, Javon Best. He does it on both ends of the floor. And I thought what Travis Ford said to us earlier in the week, he's the best defender in the country when it comes to guards. Said, I know I'm biased, but give me a break. The facts speak for themselves. He really likes not just what Javon Best does offensively, but what he brings to the defensive end.
He has absolutely been one of the best two-way players in the country as far as a guard's concerned. He's long, he's quick, he has the will and the want to defend, but he's become more efficient over the past year or two on the offensive end because he's quoted saying he wants to make sure that he's got the energy on the other end, so he has to make sure he's making shots on offense. So
shot clock under 5. Tough shot for Goodwin, but he kisses it off the glass.
Houston's made them kind of make some tough shots like that.
Hinton overshot that one. He's been good in his freshman season. A little too strong there. Isabel trying to accelerate. He's fouled. And now he's lobbying for free throws. I don't know that he's going to get that. St. Louis will inbound underneath. Foul on Armani Brooks is first.
Armani Brooks is first. The 4th foul for Houston.
Just because he can't dribble doesn't make it a foul.
It did look like he kind of lost the ball in transition.
Block down low. Bryson Gresham. He's made a couple of really athletic plays. Hinton has been stripped by Isabel. Back from an ankle injury. Missed a couple of games. And certainly St. Louis glad to have him back on the floor. Isabel bumped on the drive. You see his quickness. He's been able to draw 2 fouls because of that. Thursday, we'll have the college basketball game of the night on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. A couple of undefeateds. Number 11, Texas Tech. Zion Williamson and number 2, Duke at the Garden in New York City. First ever meeting between these two schools. You can always watch on the ESPN app from anywhere. Corey Davis picked up his first foul. Isabel drives in, goes strong. He went right at Brooks that time.
Isabel is a natural too, and he's gonna score, and he's gonna look to score. Remember, he played 1 season at Drexel in the 2017-18 season. He led them with 21 points a game. Now he's playing the point guard position. It's been a transition phase for him, having to go to the point. He's never played the point his entire life, but that's where they need him. So he's been trying to find the balance of scoring and passing.
Three way too strong. Off the mark for Cedric Alley. Isabel, good shot fake. Taking this game over for St. Louis last couple of minutes. A little bit of a calming influence on the floor as well. Tough drive for DJ Foreman and a bailout foul.
Big time bailout. That's where he is kind of out of control on the drive, and you have to just stand up straight, and that's a key for Houston and some of the bigs. And Gresham has to be able to just stand up straight here, not lean your arms over. Even if you don't foul him, as soon as you move your arms over like that, that's an automatic. It's going to be automatically called if your hands and your arms are not straight up. So the key for Coach Sampson's bigger guys is to try to stay in the game without fouling.
Kelvin Sampson, not surprisingly, out of his suit coat. He does still have the tie on for now. He did not like the foul call just a moment ago. He got a 3-point game, just under 10 minutes to go first half.
Well, they have done a better job not turning the ball over. Against LSU, they had 12 turnovers in the first half, so they have cleaned that up against St. Louis here.
Brooks had a hand in his face. Jacobs, Demarius Jacobs, freshman from Chicago, altered that shot. Pelicans on a 6-0 run and a chance to extend it and get a little bit closer. They were down 19-10.
St. Louis with a nice win over Seton Hall. Has the ability.
Well, Freeman again putting it on the deck. Able to draw the foul as he gets all the way to the rim.
Number 24, Grayson.
Beg your pardon, I said Freeman. DJ Foreman.
Foreman, yeah, he's got a toughness to him.
St. Louis
Has had some pretty nice games throughout this season so far.
2 shots.
And Foreman's played a lot of basketball. He started out at Rutgers before transferring to St. Louis. Playing his 106th career game today.
And so he's a veteran and more of a mature guy that you need on the floor. From not too far from where I'm from, Spring Valley, New York.
What do we need to know about Spring Valley?
Well, it's not maybe an hour and some change north of New York City.
Okay.
The suburbs.
Traffic is
the
better
burbs.
in Spring Valley than it is in Manhattan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, tipped away, touched last by Bryson Gresham.
Out about St. Louis.
Richard Cross, Julian Biani. One of us played basketball in college, the other did not.
Look at our sneaky crew putting up.
How about that?
high
Four-time
file there.
MAC champ, tournament MVP in 09.
They forgot our Sweet 16 run. Come on. Mid-major. Sweet 16 run.
Whistle and a foul on the drive. That'll go against Isabel.
Foul call to number 2, Tremaine Isabel Jr.
First on Isabel. It's the thing that stands out most, that you remember most about your college career.
That Sweet 16 year. Being kind of the underdog. Not expected to be 13 seed beating a 4 seed when we played Ohio State and going to the tournament. And the big dance, being that was the best moment I think ever. To kind of not be expected to get there, and then you get there. But that's the beauty of March Madness. But there are so many things. I think the relationships that you build along the way you develop as a person, and not just a player, but your character, the discipline. There's just so many things that you can learn from playing the game.
Bryson Gresham goes back to the bench after he picks up his second foul.
Okay.
There you go. There it was.
I was cold, you know.
That game day lather going. 8:03 to play first half. Isabel has provided a spark off the bench. She had been a starter coming back from that injury, though. Travis Ford liked what Fred Thatch brought to the lineup as a starter. Thatch picks up a couple of fouls early, and so bigger load for Isabel here in the first half. The senior from Seattle.
And he's willing to take the shot. Great move. I really like Robinson's game. He's been their best player at times this year. A little more under the radar.
A couple of times today, you saw it right there. Galen Robinson had his feet nearly go out from under him. We've seen a couple of players slip. It's not that the humidity is high, but it's about 70 degrees outside today here in Houston. They've got the air conditioning on wide open inside the Fertitta Center, so maybe some moisture issues on the floor.
You've seen it happen, right, in the middle of the floor here a couple times.
Fabian White nearly had his pocket picked, and then he did. Tied up, alternate possession gives it to St. Louis. 5-point game, Cougars leading it over the Billikens.
UFC fans, this is the moment you truly all been waiting for.
Tuesday, it's the Cheribundi Boca Raton Bowl between UAB out of Conference USA, the champs in that league, just 4 years removed from cutting the football program, and Northern Illinois, the MAC champs. A couple of tough defenses squaring off. 7 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Houston Cougars in a bowl game as well. December 22nd on ESPN. You've got the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Cougars went 8-4 this year, finished second in the West in the AAC. They will defeat Army. What a season for the Army Black Knights at West Point. 10-2, got the win against Navy for the first time
in a long
in
time.
School history. First time in school history, won the Commander-in-Chief Trophy in back-to-back seasons. Nice back cut and a finish by Javon Bess.
And Bess continuing to move without the basketball and find his rhythm.
Offensive foul there on Houston.
And Javon Bess just continuing to get himself open without the ball, and that's the key here, is when you know you're being overplayed, that's what's happening. He's being overplayed, and he totally fakes out Brooks and takes him back door. It's kind of the fake dribble handoff. I like it. No help side defense there. And he's going to be just swarmed day in and day out. So he's going to have to get nifty every night.
Artie Gordon was able to get to the rim, just overshot the layup that time. It's been tight for most of the way. Biggest lead of the game belongs to Houston. They led 19-10. Since then, a 10-4 run for St. Louis. That's a nice matchup there. Robinson one-on-one against Isabel. Shot clock inside 5 at 1, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. What a great possession defensively for St. Louis.
That's really good, and that is where St. Louis hangs their hat, and where they're going to win this game is defending with that kind of toughness, getting those stops, and then clearly you've got to score on the other end, but defense always comes first, and that's the kind of stuff they need to do.
Talk about defense with Travis Ford's team. You see that second best in the A10 in points per game, opponent field goal percentage, holding opponents under 30% on three-point shooting.
And like I said earlier, he's not worried so much about their defense today. He is a little concerned about their rebounding because of how tough Houston is in that department.
3 a little short for Javon Best, rebounding so far today. Houston +5 on the boards.
It'll be a 40-minute game, and you've got to execute offensively if you're St. Louis.
Isabel lets that 3 fly from the top of the key, and we are tied at 23.
I like his assertiveness. He can take any shot at any time. It's going to look good to him. You don't have to pull his arm to shoot.
All loose, St. Louis comes away with it. And again, bodies all over the floor. It's a little slick inside the Tita Center today.
But that's what's going to happen for St. Louis. Their defense can lead them to offense.
4.5 minutes to play in the first half, tied 23 apiece. Billikens out of the A10. Houston out of the American. Foreman, there's a blocking foul inside. And I'll be honest, I thought Foreman was about to get called for an offensive foul when he dropped his shoulder. Instead, it is St. Louis with a lead and a chance for a three-point play.
I'll look back at it here. And I like the movement without the basketball. Nice cut to the basket, but you're right. I do think he might have leaned his forearm in there pretty strongly. He kind of dipped his shoulder.
I will say, though, Giroux inside the restricted area.
He was, and he certainly sold it, falling backwards. Might have considered it a flop.
St. Louis on a 15-4 run since Houston had a 9-point lead. 2-point advantage for the Billikens. Shot clock at 5. Too strong with the 3 for Dejan Giroux. Another chance from the corner. Offensive rebound for White and a foul on St. Louis. It's the rebounding we were talking about that Travis Ford was a little concerned about. A couple of offensive boards for Houston on that possession.
Fans, at halftime, you can get your photo with Shasta Claus of the Concourse.
Oh, welcome back to Houston, and Javon Best for the Billikens has certainly made it happen today from a variety of places on the floor, whether he's stretching it from the 3, he's getting to the basket without the basketball, but this is a player that they asked to cover the opponent's best offensive player every single night, but then on the other side, they're asking them to lead them in scoring as well. So he's doing a little bit of both, and they're on this 15-4 scoring run because of his consistency on both ends. He really does it all.
You're saying that maybe he earns that post-game meal?
He sure does. He's got to be exhausted by the end of the game. I don't know that people understand how much energy it takes for you to cover an opponent's best player and then exert yourself on the offensive end the way that he does, because they need him to do it. And they'll do whatever Travis Ford asks of him. But that's a leader right there.
But it's kind of a two-way street. Yes, Travis Ford asked him to do that.
But they need it out of him, too.
And Travis told us the other day that Best expects that. He wants the biggest challenge defensively as well. Fabian White, baseline jumper.
But that's the kind of leader by example that he's been.
Tied at 25. That snapped a drought of over 4 minutes without scoring for Houston. Isabel, tough turnaround.
After a pretty hot start from Houston.
Bob inside. Fabian White got underneath. Nearly traveled. Was able to save the possession. Chris Harris Jr. in the game for the first time today. He's number 1.
What a move.
Dejan Giroux.
Giroux is quite the athlete. I mean, he's really quick. He's long. He's got that basketball physique. Gets to the basket and explodes because of his handle there. A little behind the back hesitation. I'm such a fan of knowing how to handle that ball, because the lower you get, the more explosive you can be and the more time you have to see the rim.
Giroux from New Orleans, transfer from UMass. Played as a freshman, sat out last year. Road game, and he was at UMass as a true freshman. 25 points against Ole Miss, a road game for UMass, going into an SEC arena.
I do like the depth of this team. Calvin Sampson's got some players he can turn to.
Ready for St. Louis. That one's short for Jordan Goodwin.
And St. Louis doesn't want to take quick shots. To me, they've got to continue to move the ball, get really, really good looks, rather than allow Houston to get the rebound and go.
Giroux on the drive. Had it partially blocked that time. Now Isabel coming right back at you.
Nice move.
Got the work inside there from Cartier Gordon.
Nice little back to the basket move. He's very skilled. He's got good footwork and he's confident. Continuing to understand the game more. Just a freshman.
Davis gets a little separation with a nice crossover. Can't get the shot to fall. It's kind of gone back and forth between having really good pace to it and then kind of feeling more like a half-court game on both ends.
And that favors St. Louis. If this is a half-court game, it really does favor them. They want to control the tempo. Houston wants to get it running in transition. But St. Louis has the advantage in the slow department.
Isabel lost the handle and was trying to kind of get back to the basketball, get his feet tangled up with Galen Robinson Jr. And Isabel picks up his second.
At the line for Houston, number 25, Galen Robinson Jr., 1-1.
Isabel goes to the bench. Darius Jacobs back in. Galen Robinson short of the free throw, just the front end of the 1-and-1. Houston a 71% free throw shooting team. Robinson 64 for the year. Closing in on a minute to play in this first half. 27-27, St. Louis and Houston. St. Louis, a team with a win over Butler. They've also got a road win against Seton Hall. There's a long three with the shot clock winding down. No. Corey Davis Jr. with the rebound. Houston's got a couple of really good wins on the resume. A road win in Stillwater. And a win here at home against Oregon, who was in the top 20 at the time. These are two good basketball teams.
Absolutely. And that's why this is a 40-minute game. You're going to have to grind it out and play hard the entire time.
Bodies all over the place. It's tied up this time. Possession arrow to Houston.
Both teams are pretty strong and physical, and they're teams that never give up. They hustle. They've got that culture.
Use it or lose it timeout for Kelvin Sampson with just 4 seconds on the shot clock and 23 seconds until the half. Not a bad time to draw up your best quick shot play.
A quick hitter here would be perfect with 23 seconds. You want to go out in the half, having the momentum. Pretty low scoring first half so far.
Leading the way for St. Louis, Javon Bess. He's got 8 points. 7 in the first half for Armani Brooks for Houston. Robinson's got 6.
Both teams, we haven't really seen either team have an offense that's really flowed. It's been very choppy in the first half on that end of the floor.
Up front, give it away, get it back. Giroux pulls the long 3. It's an air ball whistle and a foul underneath on Bess. Trying to position for the rebound.
And that's a shame. You got 1 second left on the shot clock. And Bess gets called for the foul, and he's not happy.
St. Louis at the line for Houston, number 5, Brian Davis. Pelican substitution, number 2, Tremaine Isabel Jr.
Less than 20 seconds remain in this first half. Davis at the free throw line. Corey Davis, 92% free throw shooter, makes the first.
He had such an outstanding season last year. He's kind of in a little bit of a slump from the perimeter this season, but he is their best shooter from 3.
Takes them both. Houston back in front by 2. St. Louis can hold for the final shot of the half. And you got blood also on Galen Robinson Jr. Left leg from the knee all the way down to the ankle. Nobody sees it right now. Clock at 5. Step back for Bess. Off the mark. Giroux pulls down the rebound. And we will go to the break with a 2-point ball game. Houston leading 29-27 at the break. Take a look a little later on about what's coming up this week in college basketball. Also Duke's camaraderie and tradition in Durham. 8 for Bess, 7 for Brooks. A 2-point game at the half in Houston, Texas. Halftime in Houston, Texas. Cougars undefeated on the year at 9-0, lead it 29-27 over 7-2 St. Louis. Back with you at the Fertitta Center on this Sunday afternoon alongside Julianne Vianney. I'm Richard Cross. Good to have you along. And Julianne, we do come again that this might be a tight game. We felt like it could potentially be a low-scoring game. You look at the 2 leading scorers for these 2 teams, and they're really the guys that have led the way. You start with Javon Bess for St. Louis.
And it's going to be about the offense because the defense, you're right, it's a defensive-minded game right now. It's not a high-scoring game. 2 teams that are very good on that end of the floor, and Javon Bess has done what he does best, and that's score the basketball in a variety of ways, and he's done it in the first half. And then Armani Brooks for Houston has been the most consistent scorer throughout the season. He's got a variety of moves in his repertoire, really good handle, hesitation moves, you name it. These are 2 very complete players that I expect to see continue to go off in the second half, especially because they need the offense here.
Best couple of threes from behind the arc. Brooks 0 of 3 from deep, was able to get into the lane early in the second half. Houston in the home white. You remember on Wednesday night, Houston was trailing at the half. They were down 10 to LSU. How about a 3 from the aforementioned Javon Bess to start the second half and put St. Louis back in front? Not only was Houston down 10 at the break, they gave up 5 straight to LSU to start the second half. We're down 15 with 19 minutes to play, and then the Cougars came to life.
And we talked about this active winning streak that they have, and there's pressure there to continue having to win on your home floor, and that pressure can go one way or the other. But a nice start for St. Louis to kind of grab the momentum to start the half here.
French on the drive and a blocking foul. Hassan French. Played 15 minutes in the first half. Brady picks up his 3rd.
Number 11 at the line, Hassan French
for the Cougars. That ball almost missed the rim.
And a very strange release point with his shot.
It came out of his hand, spinning
kind of short on
sideways.
It was right in his palm. Well, that was much better.
Still had a funny looking rotation on it, but the result was good for French. St. Louis leads by a couple.
Now Houston's got to go back to their attack mentality. They did that earlier in the first half and kind of went away from it.
Alley shoots an air ball. Houston keeps it alive. Shot clock is at 5. This one is short for Corey Davis, but it will stay on the offensive end as Hassan French picks up his second foul.
And one thing Kelvin Sampson told us when we talked to him before the game is that they don't run things the way they used to run things, and they were able to do different things when they had players like Rob Gray. They had Damian Dotson, who's now at the Knicks playing well. Their guards have been their strength, but they can't do quite as much in the same department in terms of the one-on-one. But he still has some playmakers. It's just not quite the same this season.
Goodwin gets inside and he's fouled on the shot. Chance for a three-point play for Jordan Goodwin.
And Jordan Goodwin does a nice job here getting the length of the floor. And how about that? All the way the length of the floor. Nobody really picks him up. Great little inside-out move with the handle. And then the finish. And Goodwin broke his nose earlier in the year, and he had a little bit of a setback, but he's been playing at such a high level ever since. He can really affect the game in a lot of ways.
St. Louis shooting just 59% from the free throw line this year. That has certainly been an Achilles heel, and yet they are still 7-2 to start this season. This 4-point advantage, the biggest lead today for St. Louis, but they try to add to it. Good body control by Fred Thatch.
And St. Louis has come to play. They're awake in the second half. They've caught Houston back on their heels.
Feels a little like Wednesday night did. Visiting team comes out and punches first in the second half. We'll see if Houston can answer after this timeout. 18-17 to play.
We are Jordan, red t-shirt, which is $34.99.
And we're just coming out of an interesting foul here between Best as we come back into Houston here. And we look at the middle of the court. Javon Best, number 3, he kind of crosses paths. Number 3 right here as we zoom in. We see him and Fabian White, and there's a foul call there, which is an interesting call. It didn't look like he was really after him as they crossed paths.
A Class A technical foul.
Maybe there were words exchanged there as well.
You got to believe there was
right there
more than just the contact. But a technical foul on Javon Best. 2 shots and the ball for Houston. And it happened at a point where the momentum was with St. Louis.
Yeah, clearly words must have been exchanged because the referee was definitely right in the middle of it. And not a good momentum shifter for sure.
Who's ball?
So Armani Brooks will inbound after the technical foul on Javon Best, which is also his 3rd foul in the game. This game's been intense and it's been physical, but it's been a clean game for the most part. Just a little surprising to see that call with kind of what the flow of this game feels like it's been. But
right.
Regardless.
Nice move.
And just like that, 4 in a row, and you got a 2-point game after the technical foul.
It can change the game. And Galen Robinson with a great move to the hoop. Haven't seen him score in a little while.
Goodwin gets into the lane, double clutches.
And then you get the home court advantage and the noise factor here if you allow Houston to go in on any kind of a run.
The same crowd that Houston had here on Wednesday night with LSU in town. A good crowd on this Sunday afternoon, and all of a sudden Houston has tied it up. 6 in a row for the Cougars after turning it over twice and missing their first 3 shots of the second half on the first 4 possessions.
And that's the way to respond. And if you watched Wednesday's game against LSU, this is a team that's going to respond. They were down by quite a few in that one, came all the way back and won it.
French missed it, missed the dunk on the follow also. That was Goodwin. Now Brooks pulls up, battled out.
This place would have exploded had he made that one.
You could feel it, and then there was this massive exhale. 22-game home winning streak for the Houston Cougars. In reality, it's a 3-game win streak in this building. They played in H&P Arena, and Texas Southern won every single game they played there last year.
But having this kind of environment, this new arena, it's going to help the future of the program.
Robinson had it blocked. But French having trouble with it.
Oh, St. Louis needs a bucket.
There should have been a foul. The first shot there was after Thatch grabbed the loose ball. 15:53. Texas barbecue, St. Louis barbecue. Who wins in that battle? We'll talk about that next. 35 apiece in the Fertitta Center. Well, you know, there's a great debate. St. Louis or Texas when it comes to barbecue. Now, there's some that might say, hey, Kansas City barbecue is what we're talking about. What are we talking about? Charcoal grill, heavy sauce. It's a sweet, sticky sauce. Texas barbecue, well, you're usually talking about brisket, cooked over hickory, glazed in a tomato-based barbecue sauce. So what are we going to do? Well, look, brand new building here, and how about this? Straight from the kitchen inside the Fertitta Center.
Oh, it smells great.
We got a brisket sandwich.
Thank you.
We've got barbecue mac and cheese with, so it looks like some crumbled onion straws, onion rings.
Onion straws,
on
yeah.
top.
Little pickle on here.
Can you handle play-by-play for the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah, I'll do my best. I'll take a bite here.
Right,
Let's try
I'm diving in. I'm going mac and cheese first.
Mac and cheese.
Just get a bite. Inbound pass.
You're the more well-versed one with this kind of food, Mr. Southerner. I'm a Yankee, but I can eat this.
That's good. 35-35, Houston and St. Louis. Good defensive play by Robinson.
Delish.
You could be on board with mac and cheese, right?
I do have. I'd be on board with that. Did hear they have an awesome restaurant here in this building too. We were told.
So this is chopped brisket on top of macaroni and cheese with some onions and tomatoes mixed in. Now, I got to be completely honest.
Is that good enough for your taste buds? You've had it all.
But the idea that we're going to debate, we can debate which barbecue is better.
Or which three-point shot is better.
Galen Robinson with the 3 there. You can debate Texas barbecue versus Kansas City, St. Louis barbecue all you want as to which is better. As long as we're not debating which is best, because it's Memphis barbecue.
It's Memphis, yeah.
You gotta understand, I'm from an hour south of Memphis.
Which place in Memphis is your favorite spot then? I bet you have a little hole-in-the-wall place in Memphis, downtown there.
Block in the lane. Houston on a 9-0 run. Love Central barbecue. And then for the ambiance, it's hard to beat the Rendezvous.
Yeah, no, there's some good spots down there.
Spilling out into the alley. No, this is fantastic, though. Brand new building, kitchen, great staff here.
Really, really beautiful arena here. A game changer for the recruiting process. And when you think about Houston in general and Kelvin Sampson, they haven't benefited yet from this building. They're going to. They're going to get the big recruits. And when he took this job over, this was all in the works. He said, listen, you're going to help me, I'll help you.
That shot by Javon Bess snapped a 9-0 run for Houston. We got a 1-point ball game. You get that wide span look. December 1st, they wanted to open this building with a splash. So what do? You invite Oregon in. Oregon was ranked 18th at the time, and Houston got the win. 7,039. They've sold out 2 of the 4 games that they played in this building. $60 million, and it was made largely because of a donation by Tillman Fertitta. In addition to being a wildly successful businessman and the owner of the Houston Rockets, he is the chairman of the Board of Regents here at the University of Houston. Largest gift ever to the University of Houston.
And it's been very rewarding for Kelvin Sampson, his family, for the community here. And they've got a stellar class coming in next season. It's only going to get better and better.
We talked with Kelvin Sampson earlier in the week about for a guy who was assistant head coach with the Houston Rockets and has been to the Final Four as the head coach at Oklahoma, has played at a bunch of places. I asked him, I said, is this something that was just a challenge that you wanted to take on? Another shot by Bess, and St. Louis is back in front. And he said, yes, it wasn't just for me, it was also for my family. He said, we were looking for something like this. He's got his son on his staff as an assistant coach. His daughter is involved in the marketing of the program with social media and kind of trying to keep the Houston basketball brand relevant year-round, not just during basketball season. And he said his wife is actually the real head coach, that she's in charge of all of it.
It's been the big reason, as his family's been involved.
Jalen Robinson with the bucket. Seesaw battle. Houston back in front, 40-39.
And when he took this program over, they did not have a practice facility. They were one of the very few schools that didn't even really have a practice facility. They had a 1969 old gym they practiced in. So he really wanted to do something here special, and the administration agreed to it.
We saw the technical early on Bess. Now you've got a technical on Jalen Robinson.
It's getting chippy.
It's an unsportsmanlike technical foul on Jalen Robinson. And so St. Louis now is back on top.
And you still have to love the excitement and the enthusiasm. You look here at Robinson just getting a little excited. But you don't want to take that kind of passion and excitement out of the game altogether. You want to watch yourself.
Come on, you got to let him play. You got to talk a little bit, right?
Talk a little trash. That's where I tend to agree with and go. And I feel like they do call everything anymore. And you don't want to take that zeal for the game out of these guys by calling every little thing in terms of competing. They're just out there competing.
Look, you've had an emphasis from the top with the NCAA with regard to decorum in games. They don't want unsportsmanlike conduct during the games.
Right, but they're competing at the same time, and it's like sometimes I see some of the calls made, and I disagree. It's like, well, they're just out there playing hard.
And I guess the point that I was making is it's easy to look and say, okay, the three guys in striped short shirts that are on the floor in this building on this day, oh, wow, they're calling ticky-tack stuff. They're not just doing that because they want to. They're doing that because that's what they've been instructed to do all the way to the top.
And I do believe you've got to control the game.
How about that drive by Dejan Jarreau?
He has made some athletic moves.
French, like a freight train going down through the lanes. Got free throws coming up.
And Jarreau has done this several times. He's really pretty far from the basket, 5 or 10 feet behind the three-point line. He makes it all the way to the hole. Quick first step. They got to utilize him even more. I think one-on-one, nobody can really stay with him.
That time French shot an air ball. You see the rotation. It's just an odd rotation off of his hand, and you'll hear it from the crowd. Thursday, college basketball. The game of the night's on ESPN2. It is Duke and Texas Tech at Madison Square Garden. That one will be fun. A couple of undefeateds. This one is fun today. And we are tied.
We've got ourselves a good one. That's what we asked for.
Jarreau on the drive again, hangs, and he draws the foul.
I like it, though. I like Jarreau. I like utilizing him. Getting to the rim at will.
Not the sideburns for Jarreau. I'm not sure those tie all the way into the beard. It's like he's got some major league chops. Then there's a little break before you get into the beard of the goatee down low. Fred Thatch picked up his third foul. this may be a record. It's rare that you see Kelvin Sampson go this deep into a ball game where the tie is still on.
You're right.
A couple of misses at the free throw line. Cartier-Gordon with the rebound for St. Louis. Bess off the mark. Corey Davis gambled on the pass, gave Bess an open look, but he couldn't convert. Offensive rebound for White. He puts it up, he puts it in, he's fouled. Fabian White strong down low on the offensive glass.
What a play by White. And Fabian White just continuing to battle on the boards. One of their best frontline players. And how about this for a second chance opportunity, using that power and skill. Puts it back up.
It was August of 2017 when Hurricane Harvey just parked itself over the city of Houston. This entire downtown area was flooded. We're now inside the Fertitta Center, and there was actually flooding in here. And you hear flooding inside, and you think, oh, some water got in the building. Julianne going to show you just how much water inside this facility.
Over 9 feet, Richard. If you look at this red line here, it goes all the way down and up here just a little bit as I walk. And this is higher than 9 feet. So this place was flooded out really nicely, and it was really a sad situation. So it kind of gives you that perspective. I'm about 5'7", maybe with some heels a little taller, but.
Well, and the thing is, Julianne, you're standing on a ramp, so as you make your way closer to the court, you see that line stays the same height. From the floor height in this building, the basketball floor height, go up 9 feet. So you're basically the bottom of the net. That's how much water was inside this building, and that's what Hurricane Harvey did to the city of Houston just a little over a year, I guess about a year and a half ago. Tight ball game, Houston leading it by 3. Shot clock winding down. Thatch got to try and make something happen. No, it's Bess. And that's a shot clock violation. What a lockdown possession that time defensively for the Houston Cougars. That's 9 feet above the height of the floor. You see that red line. That's something they won't forget here, and that's why that line is in place in this building, to remind people of what it was like. St. Louis has gone a little cold from the field. They've missed 8 of their last 10 shots. They've gone 3 minutes without a made field goal. It's been a tight game all the way. 14 ties, 10 lead changes. Giroux trying to find a little bit of space. He drives again and again, draws the foul. And Julianne, when you look at where he's starting these drives, we saw it a minute ago, he's 3 or 4 feet out beyond the three-point line. He's just looking for a window, and then he accelerates.
And suddenly you see Kelvin Sampson utilizing him a little bit. They're giving him the basketball pretty far out. The fact that he's able to get to the rim on 1 or 2 dribbles from that far with no one really rotating to get him says a lot about his skill and his athleticism. But you got to go to the hot hand, and he's been able to get there at will, creating something.
Thatch and French will go to the bench for St. Louis. Jermaine Isabel back in.
And so often you want to manufacture points by getting to the free throw line, and that is what Houston's doing here and what you're seeing from Giroux.
In some ways, a carbon copy from Wednesday night. There's a steal. Giroux again providing the spark. He gets it to the corner. 3 on the way. Guess who? Armani Brooks. St. Louis takes a timeout as Travis Ford wants to find a way to try to stop the bleeding. You look up and you see an 8-point lead for the Cougars. Again, let's rewind to Wednesday night. LSU comes out. They punch Houston in the mouth. They're up 15. Houston starts to climb back in it, and then you get a big run. And it started on the defensive end.
Defensive possession leading to your offense. This is where Travis Ford was worried about Houston going off, and that is getting threes when the defense is scrambling in transition, and so much offense can be created off of your defense. And that's the way to get it to your best player in Brooks. He knocks it down. Best time to shoot a three. Off of a turnover, a live ball turnover, which is something that St. Louis can't afford to do.
Does Armani Brooks have that feel for the big moment? It's like there's that one guy who, when the crowd is ready to explode, can make that big shot. 12 points for Brooks, 7 for Davis. Allen Robinson as well. Brooks and Robinson, the two leading scorers for Houston. There's a foul on Giroux.
Oh, talking about Brooks, he has gained some weight this season, put on some muscle, filled out physically, so he absorbs contact better this season, and he has the green light, and he never has to be looking over his shoulder wondering if he's coming out, because Kelvin Sampson wants the ball in his hands.
What was it that Coach Sampson told us? He said with Galen Robinson and Brooks, they can't shoot it enough for me.
Him, Corey Davis, he wants shooting.
There's another one. Isabel pulls down the rebound. Isabel, tough drive. He got the roll.
He might be small, but he's quick. And that was quite the spin. And very needed for St. Louis to get this bucket. Tremaine Isabel off the pick and roll situation, able to find his way to the rim. He kind of goes through two guys. Quick off the bounce here, splits the two.
10 points now for Tremaine Isabel Jr., 7th time this year he's gotten into double digits. Isabel actually declared for the 2018 NBA draft, got those draft evaluations, decided to come back for his senior season.
Smart man.
Giroux on the drive, fouled again.
And he seriously can do it every time, and he's showing that. He's got the motor.
Number 5, Gordon.
Cartier-Gordon picks up the foul.
And like one thing too from Coach Sampson that I took from what he spoke to with us was that he said it's hard to really have two good teams beat you, meaning your own selves and the opponent. So you never want to beat your own self up. And so far this half, they've done a pretty good job cleaning up some of the things they weren't able to do offensively in the first.
1 of 2 for Giroux, 6-point lead for Houston. Cougars kind of extending the defense this time. Corey Davis out front harassing Isabel, and they force a turnover. Now Houston trying to run.
And Houston with a sudden spark of energy.
Davis may have gotten away with a travel there. He gets it back, fires the three. And Devon Best, a strong rebound there. 17 points, couple of rebounds for Best. Isabel trying to draw the foul, did not get the whistle on the contact. Giroux, he's going to draw the foul. No, not this time. He charges. E.J. Foreman able to stand in and take the charge.
But that's the way to really get yourself in position. And Foreman with the hustle back. He's in front of the restricted area. Takes one for the team. Now, that's an easy play defensively because you've seen Giroux every time down the floor take it all the way to the basket. That's where Giroux has to pull up and get that pull-up game. Because he's so good at getting to the rim, when he can develop the pull-up game, the mid-range game, he'll be deadly offensively.
Isabel had some space, knocks down the three. 13 points for Jermaine Isabel.
Well, you know it's in him and Best to take over a game. And the two of them have that offensive ability.
Floater. How about that for Corey Davis? Nice touch.
And that's the way to get yourself going. Corey Davis has had a hard time from the three-point arc at times this season and continue to do it from two.
Orman drives in, draws a little contact, had it blocked, but into the hands of a teammate. There's another block. Fabian White got two of them on that trip.
What a rim protector Fabian White is. He does so many little things out there. Gets a piece of the basketball, tips, blocks. Might not always show up on the stat sheet, but he's always hustling.
Clock at 5. They just called a push.
I thought his own
it was his
teammate
own
got
guy.
it.
That's
a
terrible.
break. Yeah, that's a break for Houston.
Travis Ford is beside himself, and he should be. We'll take a look at it when we come back. 53-48. Travis Ford has calmed down in the huddle right now. I think he gets a little bit of credit for composing himself and realizing he's in a 5-point game. This was Travis Ford right before. He is absolutely beside himself. Not so much angry, but just can't believe that a foul was called on DJ Foreman. Here's the play we're talking about.
This is just a bad call. He gets hit by his own teammate. I mean, Corey Davis bumps right into Fabian White, and what a break. And no wonder Travis Ford's so upset. He's correct to be upset. It just was a missed call by the ref. Clearly not seeing the floor correctly.
Fabian White stepped
call.
into the lane, knocked Corey Davis to the ground.
That's a big call. Now you're giving up 2 points here. So I understand why he's upset. It's a big momentum. The momentum's already been on the Houston side, but at least he misses one.
Only 1 of 2 from the free throw line. 6-point game, 54-48.
Good help side defense and rotation that time for Houston.
Hands down, Isabel lets the 3 fly.
That's an excellent defensive possession from Houston.
Fabian White, way short.
Not really the shot you want either.
Step back, 3. He measured it and got it.
You had a lot of time to shoot it too.
Cartier Gordon, only 1 of 3 from behind the arc coming into this game, makes his 2nd of the season. That's a big one to make it a 3-point game.
They dared him to shoot that one.
White kicks it out. Davis on the drive, missed a shot and a rebound underneath to Jordan Goodwin. St. Louis tried to go in transition, no, but Isabel with the follow.
He's got such a nose to score. Always right around that rim. And they just closed the gap.
54-53, Houston riding a 22-game home win streak. Corey Davis lets it fly, got a 3.
He drained 103 of those last season. You better get out on him.
Second 3 of the game for Corey Davis. Into the lane, tough shot, count it for Cartier Gordon. He hit a 3 just a moment ago. Now he's got a chance for a 3-point play.
And Gordon, the freshman, tremendous job here getting to the basket, being tough with the basketball. Little back to the basket spin move and finish. We saw him do that in the first half. He has excellent footwork, and he's one of those players that plays so hard. Coach Travis Ford said he fatigues himself because when he's on the floor, he is going 110 miles an hour.
Gordon's got 8 points. He's averaging 9 for the year. Season high for Cartier Gordon is 14. That happened in the win at Seton Hall. Lewis has been able to get some wins away from their home building. They come up with a turnover. Could take the lead this trip down. Tough drive. The tip in.
What a hustle play.
Hassan French on the follow. Wow. And St. Louis back in front with 5 minutes to play.
Pure hustle. This is going to come down to who wants it more.
Davis lost the handle and turned it over.
That's 2 turnovers in a row from 2 of your top guards.
Isabel into the lane, tough shot. And Houston's going to come away with the rebound. It's Dejan Giroux. And now Giroux trying to go coast to coast. Count the basket. What a play by Giroux.
Giroux having a game. And Giroux goes 90 feet, and no one can stop him. No one can stay with him. He is so quick with that burst of energy and speed and great ball control and body control with the bump.
Cartier Gordon with his 2nd foul.
He's been a revelation tonight, or today, excuse me, just in terms of being able to get to the rim.
Giroux's now got 10 points. 6 of them have come from the free throw line.
The last couple possessions have not been great for Houston. Robinson and Davis both trying to force feed, turning the ball over rather than using the bounce pass. Seen a lot of forced passes.
Week 15 Monday Night Football. It's an NFC South battle in Charlotte. Drew Brees and the 11-2 Saints looking for home field advantage through the playoffs. Cam Newton and the Panthers are desperate for a win of any kind to keep their playoff hopes alive. 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 on the West Coast on ESPN. ESPN Deportes, and available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Monday Night Football. Two-point lead for Houston, 4:10 to play. Tough turnaround, an offensive rebound down low, and a putback for Jordan Goodwin off the miss by French.
I love the grit from St. Louis, and Goodwin again with another hustle play. It's been those second chance opportunities, those follows that have kept them in this.
All loose, Giroux trying to get it. It's Isabel that comes up with it, puts it up, and he's fouled and has free throws coming. Ooh, you don't want to miss the end of this one. 3:44 to play, 60 apiece. St. Louis and Houston on a Sunday afternoon. Only 9 teams in all of college basketball are undefeated. One of them, the Houston Cougars. They joined Buffalo, Furman, Kansas, Michigan, Nevada, St. John's, Texas Tech, and UVA, the 9 teams that have a 0 in the right-hand column. They've also won 22 in a row at home. They are in a fight on this Sunday afternoon in the 4th game in the Fertitta Center since the renovation in this building. Alongside Julianne Vianney, I'm Richard Cross. Glad to have you along. 60-60 with Jermaine Isabel Jr., the senior for St. Louis, at the free throw line coming out of this timeout.
They've had a lot of close games, too, throughout this season, and have come up with wins. And St. Louis giving them all they can handle here at home.
Isabel was 3 of 3 from the free throw line, missed that one. Makes the second
St. Louis has only been giving up about 60 some odd points per game, so this is kind of in their wheelhouse right now.
Houston has turned it over 14 times this afternoon, leading to 17 St. Louis points.
And you know Kelvin Sampson won't be too happy about that one.
Cougars have turned it over 3 times in their last 4 possessions. Armani Brooks, deep 3 for Brooks, off the front iron, and Isabel comes away with the rebound.
And you know too, Richard, some of those turnovers were in the half court and they weren't being highly pressured.
17 points for Javon Best to lead St. Louis. Isabel's got 16 and the ball in his hands with the shot clock under 10. French now to Best, shot clock under 5, step back. Not a lot of room for Brooks to operate as the shot clock gets to 10. Tough shot. Too strong for Robinson. Neither team could get one to fall.
Been a lot of isolation ball the last few possessions from Houston. The 1 versus 1. Not enough movement. You don't want to get caught ball watching one of your guards basically trying to make it happen.
Coming up tonight at 11 Eastern, it's Sports Center with Kenny and John Anderson. Big day of the NFL. They'll break down Patriots, Steelers, plus have Eagles-Rams reaction when it goes final. Plus, teams with the best records in the NBA square off tonight in Denver. Sports Center, 11 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
How about the Raptors beating the Warriors with no Kawhi Leonard the other day? Really proving a point.
Yeah, impressive.
Really impressive.
Didn't just eke one out that night.
Missing their best player. I think the Raptors are the team to really watch out for.
You've not been following these two teams coming in. You're talking about a Houston team that's in the top 25, a St. Louis team who went on the road to Seton Hall and got a 66-64 win. Not only a road win, but a close road win. They're in a close road game here. They lost to Pittsburgh at Madison Square Garden. Had a home win against a pretty good Butler team. They've beaten Oregon State out of the Pac-12. And you look at Houston, their record perfect so far this season, 9-0. That includes a win at BYU, a win at home against Oregon, a win at Oklahoma State, and a win against a talented but young LSU team here earlier this week.
All right, 2 teams that are going to battle you. And the thing with that Seton Hall win for St. Louis, Coach Ford told us he doesn't want his guys to get too high or too low on that one. Just shows what they're capable of. Gave them that confidence.
Von Best finds a little space, dumps it down, gets it back.
Nice double team here.
French. Shot clock at 5. Tough pull up short for Jordan Goodwin. Grab the loose ball and Goodwin with the putback.
That's Fabian White. You can't save the ball underneath your opponent's basket. It's one of those basketball 101 things.
Goodwin's now in double figures for St. Louis.
And St. Louis really taking advantage of this situation. Now Houston played great. They had a nice stop here, great possession, but you can't try to save the basketball underneath your opponent's basket. You're going to give them a layup. It's where you've got to either throw it out of bounds or throw it real far if you're able. But Goodwin with the finish.
Hassan French picked up his 4th foul. You heard the reaction from the Houston fans. They thought the contact on Fabian White is what caused him to fall. Now you go to the other end of the floor, and Fabian White's at the free throw line for a different foul.
Thought he was out. He was a little off balance trying to save the basketball. I did not see him get pushed.
Limited trips to the free throw line this year. Fabian White coming into this game 3 of 4.
And
He's had 3 attempts today and has made 2 of them.
We talked, I think, a little bit about how he broke his foot in June, and they thought going into the season they'd have the best front line they've had in him, but he wasn't ready. Then in the middle of September, it didn't heal right. They had to go back put him in the boot, and he had another surgery again. So he was out until November 30th. So finally they have Fabian White back, and he has been tremendous. Finally getting in rhythm. And
the break in the action is because of a glitch with the shot clock above the goal on the end with Houston's bench. And that I've noticed throughout the course of the day, that shot clock has actually had some issues.
The other side is okay.
Yeah, it's been fine.
The one under the Houston bench basket there.
When we finish up here in Houston, we're going to send you to Fort Worth. Coming up next, it's Indiana State against Alex Robinson and TCU. Robinson averaging 13 a game, second in the country with 9 assists per contest. That's coming up when we finish here. Indiana State at 6-2, TCU up the road at Fort Worth at 7-1. They're not quite done yet, though, here in Houston. So what are we doing?
He said, I'm assuming you know this, but we're waiting on the shot clock to come back into play here. So that's what this break is for. Just like we thought here. They're having a hard time getting it to go back to 30. Looks like 90. So that's been the technical issue here. And talk about a break in rhythm, and that's the worst time to have it, right?
I mean, you're 96 seconds to play in a 3-point game.
And now you lose all the momentum.
I'm telling you, I think there's been an issue with that shot clock on and off throughout the game. Maybe it's just the first time that the officials have noticed it. Certainly important to have that in place down the stretch here. They're working feverishly behind the basket, trying to get the wiring right. St. Louis leading 63-60. Javon Best, the leading scorer for the Billikens, has 17 points today. Jermaine Isabel's got 16. He's the second leading scorer on the team. And a double-double today for Jordan Goodwin.
I'm not sure what they're doing here, but the 30's not on either side now. Come on, this was a brand new arena. Richard, having those technical problems.
Well,
60 million.
That's the only thing that's gone wrong inside this fantastic new facility. It's a remodel, but for all practical purposes, this place is brand new. Fabian White makes the first 3 after the break.
It's beautiful here.
After the break.
So now you've got to get back in rhythm.
No trouble for White. Couple of free throws, and now Houston looking for a stop on the defensive end. Fertitta Center not sold out today, but a good crowd on this Sunday, and they have come to life here late. Shot clock is off. Isabel short with the 3, and that's a disadvantage, especially to St. Louis, who wants to milk as much time as they can. You've got a foul here on St. Louis. If that's on Hassan French, it's his 5th. It is on Hassan French, and he is done.
It's certainly not the greatest shot that you can get if you're the Billikens. A pretty deep 3 launched up, and then a foul.
We'll just keep a note. 109 on the clock right now.
Number 20 at the line for Houston, Armani Brooks. Shooting the 2.
63-62, St. Louis with a 1-point lead over Houston, but Armani Brooks at the free throw line. It's the one area of Armani Brooks' game that hasn't been great. He came into this as a 50% free throw shooter.
Which is interesting when he's such a good shooter in general on the floor.
1 of 2 today. He's 10 of 20 for the year.
Needs to get better. That's a toughness thing, a mental thing. Now, what's interesting here is that the shot clock, we talked about that before, it's not lit up on either end, so the players can't see it. The refs are keeping it on the floor.
And this is a point where if you're St. Louis, Travis Ford, somebody on his staff has to be doing quick math and communicating how much time they should have left.
That's difficult. As a player, that's difficult. You're always looking up at that.
All right, so 109, that'll take it down to 39 when the shot clock would expire. Right now, we do not have a shot clock. A minute to play, tied at 63. Bess dumps it down low. There's a block. What a play by Dejan Giroux. He's had a big second half for Houston.
Incredible length.
Timeout on the floor by Houston. That is their final timeout. 42.3 seconds to play and about 25 seconds on the shot clock. So Houston out of timeouts. 2 shots for both teams at the free throw line. Look at the block.
The play of Dejan Giroux today on offense, but also defensively here. That's a big block and a big stop for Houston in a tie game. Now you get the ball back. 42 seconds here. A little bit of a separation between the shot clock and game clock, but you get a really good opportunity to drop a play, get a quick hitter, get a good shot, and then force St. Louis to have to foul you if they can score here.
Are you okay with the choice to go to Thatch there? Kind of a freshman averaging 4 a game. Now, he had 16 in the last game for St. Louis, but when...
I'd rather my seniors take that, and Thatch looked like he might have been unsure of how much time was on the shot clock and thinking he had to get one up, but he really did not get a good shot off. And you got to give credit to Houston's defense in that possession. They did make it tough for St. Louis to get a really good look. Certainly not the shot you want. And then the shot before that was a chucked 3 that you really didn't want either from Isabel. So 2 possessions in a row from St. Louis where they didn't really get a good look.
One of the concerns for both coaches coming into this game was rebounding. Houston is +7 in the game. Both Houston and St. Louis have 10 offensive rebounds. We're tied at 63, and it appears the shot clock is back working. They've got it connected again with 25 seconds on the shot clock. 22 consecutive home wins for the Cougars. They move back into this building. It used to be Hofheinz Pavilion. It's now the Fertitta Center on December 1st. They are 3-0 since coming back home. Davis got the 3. What a big shot. The senior from Lafayette, Louisiana, gives Houston a 3-point lead, and now Travis Ford will take a timeout. 25 seconds to play.
Talk about a gutsy shot from your upperclassman. Your senior, Corey Davis, not afraid to pull the trigger. And this could not have looked better. A nice little handoff, and that screen was what got him open from Gresham. He set a solid screen. Check out this screen. Hard screen, and then the defense gets stuck underneath it against the 3-point shooter, and Davis, when he needed to slide in front of it, and he drilled it.
Corey Davis, give it away, get it back, use the screen, and bury the 3. That's the 3rd triple of the game for Corey Davis. He leads Houston today with 15 points, right on his season average. Now, can St. Louis answer?
Well, they did get a really good look from one of their star players. Great offensive possession from Houston, but a lot of time for St. Louis to score. And you don't need a 3 here. If you are St. Louis, go for the 2. Don't throw up a 3 here. Get the easy shot.
Isabel with the ball in his hands, trying to find some space. He gives it to Bess. Bess, long 3 with 12 seconds left. He didn't have to take that shot. It's loose. St. Louis gets it back. Still time. That one is blocked, and a foul on the three-point shot. No, they'll say on a two-point shot.
But St. Louis did not need to take the three. They tried to be the hero and tie it.
A little surprised to see Javon Bess panic. Dejan Giroux picked up his fourth foul.
Is under review.
And that didn't even look like a foul at all. Look at this again. Giroux goes up in the air, but he doesn't touch him.
Last second, maybe reached out with his left hand and got it on the forearm.
It was
maybe
a touch foul, if anything. And if it was on the forearm, okay. But if it was a hand is part of the ball, and that seemed a little bit of a stretch to me in a situation like that to call that.
What they're checking is to make sure it is a two. It was called a two in real time. Watch the toes. Yeah, that right foot looks like that was the pivot foot, and it never left the three-point line. So 2 free throws coming up.
Yeah, so his feet are definitely on the line. And I didn't think it was a foul.
So a 2-shot foul here. St. Louis trailing by 3. Are you in that difficult make the first, try to miss the second? Or are you willing
better
to
be
try
ready to rebound? I think you make both and foul immediately. That's what I would do.
Goodwin makes the first.
And then hope Houston misses the free throws, because Houston is not the greatest free throw shooting team. They've got some guys that are going to miss. So make this one and then foul immediately.
Isabel and Bess outside the lane. It hits the rim. It kicks out. Bess has got it. Lets it fly. He shot an air ball. That would have tied it. Houston ball. Free throws coming. 0.3 of a second. St. Louis got exactly what they wanted.
They did, and they decided to do what I said maybe they shouldn't have done, but at the same time, you can't go wrong with that decision, because they did get the opportunity to get a second shot up, just couldn't get one in. So he tries to miss the second, and that's hard to do. It didn't even look like it touched the rim, but I guess it did. And not a great look, but a look nonetheless.
Goodwin got the foul. Corey Davis makes the first. Again, it felt like with Javon Bess, who's a veteran on this team and is the unquestioned leader, like you rushed that shot a little more than he had to.
And I also feel that possession before, they didn't need to go for the three, and they went for the three.
Lets it fly. Off the mark. Did not get it off in time. It is now 23 in a row for Houston. Second longest win streak in the entire country. What a game.
Incredible performance, defending their home floor.
68-64 the final. Houston 10-0. Best start to a season since 1968. Let's send it to Fort Worth for Indiana State and TCU. Gentlemen, take it away.